Hey everybody, it's Maya Zahira here, and I'm live here on Facebook. Just wanted to say hi to everybody. I am hanging out at one of my favorite places, Shawnee Mission Lake, and I'm just hanging out at one of the shelters. Before we get into chatting, I'm going to show you a little bit more of where I'm hanging out. There's the lake. Hey Michelle, good to see you on here. You can see the stormy weather that's getting ready to come in, and there's something specifically today, but before we get into that, I'm just showing you this awesome view of the lake. So gorgeous, and it's perfect that I'm recording this out here because this relates to the topic that I want to just chat with all of you about. And I want to encourage, hey Caitlin, I want to encourage all of you to be interactive and say hi and respond to some of my questions that I'm going to ask you all. Hey Becca, good to see you. Okay, so my question for you all is, it's an easy question, but it's a hard question. What are you doing in your regular life to recharge? What are you doing to recharge your batteries, to replenish? You know, we're always, we're always talking about recharging our batteries. Like, I'm sure that sounds like an easy question, but are you actually doing it? So, what are you doing to recharge your batteries, to replenish? If you are doing anything to recharge your batteries, go ahead and comment. Yes, yoga, that's awesome. Thanks, Michelle. What's everybody else doing to recharge your batteries? And if you're not doing anything, that's okay. We're going to talk about that in a second. I'm just getting more relaxed so we can have our chat together. What are you all doing? So some people do yoga. Okay, so I'll give you some ideas. So what I do for recharging, Caitlin takes naps. I love naps too, totally. So what I do for recharging is, if you couldn't tell already, nature. I get outside. And for me, just going to a little neighborhood park and sitting under a tree, like, that's not enough. I need ultimate nature. Like, I need to be able to breathe fresh air and not smell car exhaust. So as soon as I got out of my car today, I took a deep breath. I was like, oh my God, I just need fresh air. So even when I'm busy, I actually schedule time out in nature. What does everybody else do? Mary, exercising and hiking and biking. Yes. Awesome. Anybody else want to chime in? What do you do to recharge? I love taking naps too. I like reading books and writing in my journal. Writing in my journal really helps me to, like, discharge some of my emotions. If I have any, stress from the day, then I can write about it. Exercising, my body tends to like kind of moderate exercise. And what else? Put my bare feet on the earth. Yes, Caitlin, me too. I did that for a little while today as well. Sunshine, fresh air. Anybody else want to chime in? Cool. Some people just showed up behind me. Hello. They probably figured out I'm doing a video. Okay, so everybody has some things that they do to recharge. Let me list a couple of other things. How about healthy eating? Sometimes when we're kind of depleted, sometimes we end up eating food. I know that's what a lot of people are doing. So instead of eating junk food, be recharging by eating something that's really nourishing for your body. And Beck says, nap, pray, meditate, yes. And Caitlin says, I will be going to Gaia Goddess Gathering, and that recharges me deep in my soul. Yes, thank you so much for bringing that up, Caitlin. So, gathering together with other people, being together, social, not even just for some people, And Mary, dancing, yes, indeed. Oh my God, that's so replenishing. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Great ideas, everybody. So, okay, so those things that you do for self-care, are they non-negotiable? So this is a question. I don't really know the answer to this. You do. Are those things non-negotiable, or do they end up getting put on the back burner because you have other responsibilities, like your kids need assistance, your job, your husband, your spouse, what have you? Make those things non-negotiable. Yes, sometimes we do have to rearrange our schedule a little bit and maybe reschedule our self-care time, our recharge time, but don't give it up completely. You absolutely have to take time to recharge. So does anyone who's watching find that sometimes they're not taking time to recharge? Raise your hand. Say yes or click like. Do you ever find that you have periods in your life where you're not taking your recharge time? Yes? No? Is everybody really committed to it? Y'all are really silent now. So, okay. So if there are ever times when you are not doing your recharge time, yes, thank you, Michelle. But if there are ever any times when you're not doing your recharge time, I want you to ask yourself, why? Why aren't you? Yes, Caitlin, that's awesome. Non-negotiable for me. Yes. Oh, you guys are awesome, awesome, awesome. So, okay, so sometimes there might be times where you don't take your recharge time. That happens with some of you who are going to be watching this. And so I want to talk to you about why it's so important. Now, I have met a lot of people who their recharge activities end up going on the back burner. And I want to tell you a story about a client that I had a few years ago. I was just thinking about her. She was laying on the treatment table, and she was so tense. She was so stressed out, and she was talking about her to-do list and how she has so much stuff that she has to get done. And she's an entrepreneur. She owns her own healing business. And she was just like mega stressed out. And she was coming to me for a session. So she asked me what I advise for her. And I said, you have to take the rest of the afternoon off. You absolutely have to take time off. And she said, but I don't have time. I have all this stuff to do. I have these responsibilities to these other people, and I've got this, all these things that I have to do for my business, and we're getting ready to sell my home, and like all this list. So she was very resistant to taking time off. And I told her, I said, right now in this energy that you're in, where you're super hyper vigilant, over hyper, stressed out, like your wheels are turning 1,000,000 miles a minute, you're actually not going to be very successful in getting your things done. You're going to be expending a lot of energy, but you're going to be just like moving and not really accomplishing very much. And so when you're not taking, so the moral of the story is that when you're not taking your recharge time, you might be acting very busy. Sure, it sure feels real busy, but not actually accomplishing very much. So a friend of mine today was feeling really stressed out this morning, and what I suggested to her is the very first thing that you need to do is take a couple hours off this afternoon. Because then when you come back, you're going to be really clear and grounded, and you're going to know what needs to be done, rather than trying to do everything. Because there's a whole lot of stuff that actually doesn't need to be done. So when you take that time to replenish, then you know what needs to be done, and you're also really clear about what does not need to be done. Have you ever found yourself trying to do everything all at once? I know for me, when I get stressed out and I take some time, I go outside and put my feet on the earth and I just chill for a little while and get out of that hyper stressed out mode, then I go, oh yeah, those 25 things don't really need to be done right away. Just these 2 things need to be done right away. I think in our society we just get like we get into this overwork mode, right? We totally do. Oh, we've got some new people joining. Yes. Awesome. Thank you for your comments. So I've got a little more. Okay, so there was a little saying or a little story that I heard a couple of years ago, and I thought it was so cool. So you all know that when you're really depleted, then you don't have as much to give. And we all know that when we're depleted, and then we're more stressed out, we're more irritable, and we're actually not giving as well as we could to the people around us. And so we think that we're giving a lot by putting a lot of time in and being really busy, but we're actually giving less because maybe we might feel resentful or we're more tired, so we're more irritable with those people that we're trying to help. So it's super, super important that we not keep on giving when we're so depleted. So there's this story that I heard a couple years ago. It's about the saucer and the cup. So the teacup and the saucer that goes under it. And the story goes that it's so important to fill up your teacup. Fill it up by doing your replenishing activities. Fill it up so that it spills over into the saucer. And the saucer is what you give from. So you make sure that you are fully filled up, and then you give from the saucer. Okay? So always remember that. It's not selfish at all to fill up your saucer, because then what you're giving to other people it's much higher value. It's better quality what you're giving them, rather than someone who's like dragging through life and feeling resentful and exhausted. So remember that it is okay to put yourself first. So I wanted to tell you a little tiny story about myself. Right now I'm in my 40s, but when I was in my 20s, I was working as a school teacher, and I was a typical type A personality, overachiever, overworker. I was great at my job, and in a lot of ways I loved it, and I was really good at it, but I was really exhausted and I was very depleted. And I used to have these fantasies that someday I would be working to help people with their stress, lower their stress level, because I was so stressed out. I mean, if you've done any work in the teaching field, you know what I'm talking about, but otherwise sometimes it's hard to understand. But man, working with those kids can be really stressful, and then you've got the administration, and then you're up till midnight every night grading papers, and you're exhausted, right? So I used to have these fantasies that I could do some kind of work where I'd be helping people to relax and be less stressed out. And a couple years ago, I started laughing because I suddenly remembered that out of the blue, like, oh my God, I used to have fantasies about helping people. I didn't know if I would be a massage therapist or something else. I didn't know what that would look like. But now, I tell you what, I am a master at self-care, my own self-care. I'm a master at my own self-care, about making myself a priority and taking time off to recharge, just like I'm doing right now. And those of you who joined late, look where I'm at right now. Shawnee Mission Lake. Can you tell it's getting ready to rain? Yes, awesome. So gorgeous. So the reason why I share that story is because I used to be on the gerbil wheel. I used to be on the gerbil wheel where I was working crazy hard and I wasn't taking enough time to replenish. And it took me a few years to gain those healthy habits and release some of those unhealthy habits, release that type A, that tendency toward being an overachiever and not allowing myself time to relax ever. And over time, I actually got really burned out. And when I got really burned out, that was what motivated me to start taking time to recharge myself. When I started taking time to recharge myself, this was when I was still a school teacher back in my 20s. When I started taking time to recharge myself, I noticed that I was a much better teacher. When I showed up for school on Monday, I actually wanted to be there, and the kids could feel it. They could feel it. So I share that story to express to those of you who are thinking, well, but my kids need me. I don't have time to relax, lay back and relax or whatever, or go take a hot bath or go get a massage or whatever. I don't have time to do that. My kids need me, or my spouse needs me, or whoever it is that needs you. But you're going to be so much better for them when you take this recharge time. It's so, so, so important. So, hey, Sally. Hey, Erica. Good to see you. Kelly. Hey, good to see you too. So, I'm looking at my notes here. Okay. So, there's one more point that I wanted to add. And after I was a school teacher, after I retired from that, then I started my own business. And when I started my own business, I found that my to-do list was even bigger. I had this huge to-do list. And it was never ending. And it actually still is never ending. So what I discovered was that I had to just prioritize and just make time to recharge. I just had to decide, okay, today I'm taking time to recharge, or this evening I'm taking time to recharge and do this thing that I need to do for myself. What I found through trial and error was that if I didn't take time, like if I said, well, let me wait until I actually have time. I never had, that time never came. I never had time to take time off. I had to make time. I had to just say, I'm going out to the lake for an hour or whatever. And I had to just make it happen. And by doing that, it was like telling the universe, I'm important enough to take time off. I was giving a message to the universe that self-care is important to me. And so by giving that message to the universe, then that allowed the universe to work on my behalf so we could co-create together. The creator and I could co-create together a lifestyle that is more relaxing for me. So yes, my to-do list is still 10 miles long, but I still come out to the lake and that to-do list is still there. And when I go back to the to-do list, I'm not feeling resentful or overexhausted or burned out. And I'm actually able to get the work done in a more focused way. And I have more creative energy. And I'm more inspired, and I want to be doing it. And then when I'm working with my clients and my students, I want to be doing it rather than like, oh God, I don't want to be doing this. I'm so tired, And by the way, those of you who are watching who work as coaches or healers or intuitives in the helping professions, it's so easy to overgive because we have such huge hearts. So just remember that it's absolutely so important to take that time for replenishing and for self-care, because you're going to have so much more to give to your clients and to your students. And believe me, they're going to feel it. They're going to feel it if you're not all in. If your cup is empty, they're going to feel it, and they might go away, or they're just not going to have the experience that they could have if you were giving from the saucer of your teacup rather than from an empty cup. So I'm so glad that we all got to connect this evening, and please continue to share your comments. Those of you who joined late, tell us, please, what do you do to recharge? What do you do to recharge in your life? And has it been put on the back burner? Do you need to reintegrate it into your life? If so, I encourage you to do so starting right now, starting today. So some of you who are watching are in my 12-month Create course for women. So I'm so happy to see you here on this video. And those of you who are not already in the course, I'd like to encourage you to check it out. My website, grab a pen if you want it, if you want my website, www.com, mayazahira.com, M as in Mary, AYA, Z as in zebra, AHIRA.com. And I'll make sure to put it in the comments as well so that you can find out the spelling. And I also have, I try to have at least one free event every month, and I try to rotate what I do. Sometimes it's a live in-person event, and sometimes it's an online event. And so as I'm creating this video, it's the end of August, and so I'm having a free Clarity Breakthrough Circle next week. That will be live in person at my place in Overland Park. And then in the fall, early October, I'm going to have that same event, the free, yay, free is good, Clarity Breakthrough Circle for women online. So those of you who live long distance, who don't live around Kansas City, you can attend online if you like. So just keep an eye out on my Facebook page, and then also on my website, on my events page, all the upcoming events will be listed. So once again, if you want to check out the 12-month Create program for women, it is fantastic. I know some of my students on here feel that way, and I love you guys so much. Love you ladies so much. And then if you want to know about the free events, then check out my Facebook page or my website as well. So wonderful spending the evening with all of you. And I would like to finish out the video by showing you the lake once again. And if you are a nature lover like me, I want to know, have you gotten out to nature this week? If not, you better do it. You better get outside, because I think it's supposed to rain over the weekend, so you better get outside now while you can. Look at those storm clouds coming in. Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. All right. Cool, Sally. Meditation and prayer. Beautiful. I want to thank all of you who tuned in, and those of you who watch the video later, be sure to share in the comments, and I'm looking forward to a continued discussion with all of you. As always, sending you all my love. Good night, everybody.